Gene Deal and Suge Knight are officially joining forces. And let's just say, Diddy might be sweating bullets. In a jaw-dropping twist, Gene Deal claims Diddy has been moonlighting as an FBI informant for years, feeding the feds intel like it's Uber Eats, while allegedly covering up his role in Tupac Shakur's murder. But wait, it gets crazier. Gene says he's now a target for speaking out and was just attacked by Diddy's loyal supporters. Things are heating up fast. And honestly, Gene might need a superhero cape at this point just to stay safe.
He's going to go to prison. And if he do, it'll be for something very, very small. It wouldn't be nothing what the people think. I don't think he's going to go nowhere long. And at the same time, you got to look at it. The best witness they had is Keffe D. Keffe D been an informant for a very, very long time. And Keffe D is getting ready to go to trial for the murder of Tupac. Keffe D said it, everybody else know it. And Keffe D says the money came from Puffy, to keep Tupac and myself. So if they really wanted Puffy that bad, Keffe D would have cut a deal with them, got on that stand, and broke it down. That'd have been the RICO right there. That'd have been murder for hire right there.
And I got a lot of respect for you, Suge. I got so much respect for you, bro, because when this East Coast, West Coast war could have been shut down, Pac was living, Big was living, Eric B, Big D, y'all set up there and y'all was gonna set up a meeting. Everybody who had something to do with it was supposed to show up. And Puff refused to. You didn't, brother. You wanted this shit to be over with. Even though you didn't f with Puff, y'all wasn't dealing with each other no more. I remember when you and Pac was in the car behind the House of Blues. You was in the red Rolls Royce, Pac was in the white. I was in the car when Puff rolled up on you and said, yo, Suge, we got any problems down here? And you said, bro, I don't know any problems you got. That was even after Jake was. You said, brother, I don't know any problems you got.
Suge Knight and Gene Deal are pretty much the last two people in the music industry who actually know what went down the night Tupac was shot. Suge was literally in the car when the bullets started flying. And Gene? He was allegedly hanging around Diddy while the whole thing was being planned, like the world's worst group project. Fast forward to September 29th, 2023, nearly 27 years later, and Dwayne Keffe D. Davis finally gets charged for his role in the drive-by. But now Keffe D's flipping the script in court, filing papers in Nevada claiming that Diddy was the real mastermind, paying him to take Tupac out. According to Keffe D, Eric Von Zip Martin was the middleman in this deadly transaction, and Diddy actually wanted both Tupac and Suge Knight gone. Talk about holding a grudge. Diddy wasn't just playing chess, he was trying to clear the whole board.
During the Biggie Smalls investigation in the early 2000s, the filing reads, the three LAPD and FBI agents were part of a task force to solve the shooting of rapper Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, legal name Christopher Wallace. The task force, through a sophisticated criminal investigation, obtained sufficient evidence that would prove Mr. Davis was the leader of the Southside Crips and his gang was responsible for over 360 kilos of cocaine and PCP. Mr. Davis provided 3 interviews to obtain immunity from prosecution. The final interview were solely questions regarding the Tupac Shakur shooting, which Mr. Davis was also provided immunity from prosecution. So during a December 2008 interview with investigators, that is when Davis allegedly started to spill the beans about his one-time friend, Sean Combs, who he refers to as Puffy. He claims Sean Puffy Combs solicited Mr. Davis to kill Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur for $1 million. Eric Zip Martin, an associate of Puffy Combs, provided Mr. Davis with a gun to exact revenge on Tupac Shakur for the beating Mr. Anderson received. Now, Davis reportedly told the investigators that even though the job had been partially completed and Shakur was killed, neither he nor Anderson ever got paid. He later revealed that he believes Combs had paid the go-between Zip Martin, who he claims kept the money for himself. And he said much of the same thing in a 2009 interview a year later, because according to the motion to dismiss, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, as far back as 2009, was in possession of the same set of facts that the Clark County District Attorney is now alleging makes Mr. Davis responsible for the Tupac Shakur. The Clark County District Attorney's Office has offered no reason as to why it waited another 14 years to prosecute a case against Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis has been irreversibly prejudiced by this unnecessary delay in prosecution of this case, and Mr. Davis's constitutional rights have been violated in an extraordinary manner never before witnessed in the annals of the American criminal justice system.
Just days after claiming Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder, Keffe D mysteriously gets attacked in prison. Coincidence? Please. The man names Diddy for the second time, and suddenly somebody decides to rearrange his face? Yeah, sure. Totally random. Next thing you know, they'll tell us it was just a slip and fall in the shower.
We have an update now on Dwayne Keffe D. Davis. He's charged in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis was in court again this morning after a fight with another inmate. Fox 5's Mike Allen walks us through what happened.
Dwayne Davis is answering for a jailhouse brawl. Here's what court records show, along with images from surveillance video released by Las Vegas Justice Court. On December 23rd, Davis was being escorted back into his cell when another inmate, Rockland Hamilton, who's also facing a charge, is standing to the right by a sink in this room. Hamilton walked over to Davis and squared up, looking ready to fight. They started throwing punches and grappling, and the officer escorting Davis called for backup, gave verbal commands too for the inmates to stop fighting, and then hit them with pepper spray. Before backup officers arrived, the two inmates kept grappling and throwing punches and were eventually separated after backup officers got into the room. Both Davis and Hamilton face battery by prisoner charges.
Suge is basically the last man standing who really knows what went down that night. And he's been saying for years that Puffy was involved in Tupac's murder. Gene Deal's been backing him up too, like the ultimate hype man for the truth. Even the cops allegedly knew Puffy had his hands in it, but he never got indicted. Probably because he was too busy leaking secrets to the feds like it was his side hustle. Diddy's been an informant for decades now, and honestly, everyone in the streets knew what kind of person he was. The kind of guy who'll dance in your music video, then hand your mixtape to the FBI on the low.
The man that caught my attention. You said that Suge, he's the only one who knows who killed Tupac. Why you say that?
Suge was there. Suge was there, and even though you in a hostile situation and you've been, and guns is firing out, you're gonna get that glance and that look at the individuals or the people in the car. Like Keffe D said, I spoke to Suge. We know each other from school. So in that time, as you speaking to somebody, you see who is in the car. You see who's in the car. If somebody got enough time to speak to you or say something to you and have a brief conversation, they got enough time to get a glance of who in that car. Now check this out. If they know each other and the windows is down and they spoke to each other, you don't think Suge don't know who did the shooting or who was in there? He said, I'll never say it, because to him, he'll be a rat.
Allegedly, Diddy didn't mastermind the hit on Tupac solo. Oh no, he had an inside man at Death Row Records. A traitor. Someone close enough to know all of Tupac and Suge Knight's moves. Someone who could blend in like they were just another guy hanging around the studio, eating free snacks. This so-called double agent allegedly played tour guide for the hit, feeding info like, yep, Tupac's gonna be in Vegas this weekend. Here's the car, here's the entourage, and oh, don't forget he likes to stop for snacks on the way. Basically, they were the world's worst friend and the ultimate human GPS.
The shooter, the person who shot Tupac, did you get to see their face? And was this a person that worked for Death Row?
Yeah. What I would say is this. I'm not calling a certain person Judas, whereas names could go with those people are Judas. I know more than one person involved in the assassination. And respectfully, I would say that I gave the husband, I gave the wife, and by the way, they're black people. I stand on my blackness because I am black. So out of respect to them and their project, you the homie, but you gonna have to wait to see what really happened when they put it out. That's all I can say about that part. But there's no secrets.
Testified that he saw, and he was overworked, and that he saw things that just didn't make sense, and that he had to run down on Suge Knight, or would have if Suge Knight would have actually been there.
I was thinking about that. If all of this stuff is true, Suge Knight ain't had nothing on Diddy. What you mean?
You think so?
Suge Knight has always been known as the boogeyman of hip hop. But if all of this stuff is true, Suge ain't had nothing on Diddy.
Oh, you mean as far as the type of person they are?
Being a boogeyman. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like bad boy for real.
If the FBI really wanted to, they could have had Diddy behind bars faster than he can say, take that, take that. I mean, the man was out here spilling illegal details on live TV like it was an episode of Drink Champs. The feds have a 98% conviction rate, over 30 witnesses lined up against him, and yet, Diddy didn't even testify and still moonwalked past all the serious charges. This conviction is just for show. Like one of those reality TV eliminations where no one actually goes home. Diddy's going to get away with everything, and he knows it. At this point, he's probably already working on a new song called Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
If the answers are there, how could you not say they don't want to see Puffy get life? The FBI is the most powerful people in the world. It's government. They have great prosecution people. Look at the prosecution rate. I think it's maybe 92, 98%. If you was just looking at it, you wouldn't think the prosecutors, as great as they are, that they was really trying to get this man off the street. But it's still, if I was Puffy, I'd did some time and got it out the way. Because if he go in there and do a little time, he was going to feel he paid some debts in society. He'd start off where he left. If he get no time, the street's going to know the deal's been cut. If he get no time, nobody in the industry is going to fuck with him. It's going to be a bad problem for him because Puffy got to have security 24 hours a day. It ain't Puffy can get out of jail and start his own car and drive around and live life. Him without security, he know he on borrowed time. So he had to have security. Him without drugs, shit, he probably wouldn't be able to have a conversation with nobody. He probably wouldn't be able to look nobody in the eye. He probably wouldn't even be able to bag a bitch.
Diddy knows way too much. This man's basically the Alexa of the hip-hop industry. He's been eavesdropping on every secret, whisper, and rumor for decades. Diddy and the other so-called elites have been controlling the narrative for so long, they might as well have a group Zoom meeting every Monday called, How Do We Gaslight the World This Week? But then the elites decided he was a problem and had him arrested. And just when you thought we'd see him do the perp walk, boom, he pulls a Harry Houdini and vanishes from the legal system. Why? Because he's been the Fed's #1 criminal informant for years. This man isn't bad boy for life, he's bad boy for the Bureau. The Feds weren't about to let their MVP snitch go down. Diddy probably has his own FBI locker, a key card, and a reserved parking spot that says Agent Love. He's so connected with the Feds at this point, he's one lunch meeting away from getting his pension.
Is Diddy at a level of being untouchable where he's protected, or is Diddy a target that they'll eventually put all the blame on him and make sure they get away with it free?
I mean, he's definitely going to be the black motherfucker in the bag. Because you gotta realize one thing. That boy life is dangerous. His life isn't, he's just not dangerous with the shit they said he was doing, but he's in danger. He know too much. One thing you got to realize is he probably having a conversation right now with the higher-ups and everybody else to figure out how it's going to work itself out. Because he know all the secrets. And if he get to running his mouth, it could be a bad look. I look at it like the most important thing is the industry need to be built over. You have all these executives because somebody was their father, their grandfather, or all these type of stuff, and they don't give people the opportunity to grow and learn. I know when I first started in this business, it wasn't a machine. I had to be the machine. I had to figure out how to get my songs on the radio. Because at that time, they was getting 5%, and they got 10%. They was popping champagne bottles. I went from 95% of the songs you hear on the radio was my songs into 97%. So you have to really do all this thing and really do the work. And once the work...
Gene Deal has been airing out Diddy's dirty laundry for years now. And apparently Diddy's had enough of being dragged through the mud. He's not about to risk a second trip to jail, so now he's on his Silence Gene by Any Means Necessary tour. Just a few days ago, Gene got jumped by Diddy supporters, aka the Bad Boy Goons Club, and allegedly, that was just the opening act. In a recent video, Gene even said Diddy had sent men after him and wanted him gone. At this point, Gene's living life like a Grand Theft Auto mission. Every corner he turns, somebody in a shiny suit might pop out. If Diddy's really behind this, he's out here playing real-life Survivor, hip-hop edition, and Gene's the last man standing.
I'm not the type of dude that you can come up on like
Bro, listen, we out here
what kind of content?
You're not gonna tell me what to do.
You can't come up on me.
Bro, listen.
If you come up on me, I'm gonna knock you the f*** out.
That's what I say.
You gonna do what?
That's what I say. That's what I say. No, bro, shit.
It came to light for y'all that this dude wanted me dead way before I came to YouTube. Because I was having meetings with serious dudes in the street. And he refused to sit down. So what did he do? He tell his security team. He didn't tell the NYPD officers. He didn't tell the Department of Correction officers. He didn't tell none of the parole officers or anybody he had working for him that was officers. He told street dudes who had did dirt in the street. When y'all see Gene, y'all do him dirty. Y'all beat him up. He ain't tell him to beat me up. What I look like getting beat up? What a grown man look like somebody smacking him around, hitting him and all this shit like that. I ain't taking no ass whooping. I ain't took an ass whooping since the fucking doctor spanked me on my fucking ass. I ain't took an ass whooping since my mom and my daddy. When they stopped taking it, I guess I'm got amnesia. I don't know what an ass whooping look like or feel like. What he look like telling somebody to whoop my ass? He didn't tell him that. He wanted me in the dirt and was trying to rock me to sleep. He knew where I was at.
Gene isn't the type to back down from a fight. And unlike Diddy, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, literally. This man's been calling out Diddy's crimes for years now. If scaring him was that easy, he would have quit a long time ago, packed up his receipts, and started a gardening channel on YouTube. But nope, Gene has made it clear he doesn't care what happens to him, as long as he goes out speaking the truth. You can't silence a guy who's not afraid of death. He's basically walking around like, oh, you're gonna kill me? Cool, but let me finish this sentence first. Diddy's out here playing chess, and Gene's playing I dare you.
He say, yo, you got questions to answer. For who? I said, if you want me to answer questions, do an interview. I got a booking number, then you do an interview. I answer any of your questions. I ain't got no problem of answering anything that you want to know. All you got to do is pay my fee and I'll be there. He said, well, you ain't gonna tell me how to get the contact. And as soon as he said that, and he came like he was coming close to me, I took it back to 92. Wu-Tang, protect your neck. And that's all I'm gonna say. I took it back to that. I took it back to 1992 Wu-Tang, protect your neck. and he know what I'm talking about. Then when I did that, then next thing you know, a girl came, the guards started coming and stuff like that, and he told the guards, yo, watch the camera, he hit me. That's what he said to the guard. So one guard was like this, one guard got in front of me and I moved, he said, yo, Gene. He said, yo, Gene, cause he know me. He said, yo, Gene, you could just knock me down, bro. Just take a couple of days and get up out of here. And so I was leaving. So he ran and got his camera, and then somebody called my name. He called my name like that. I turned around and I just said to him, I said, yo, bro, I'm not that dude that you could just run up on. I'm not that dude that you could say whatever you want to say. I'm a grown man. You understand? I'm not that dude that you could say whatever you want to say to, because if you run up on me, I'm going to knock you the F out. And that's how that went, bro. And there's nothing I'm proud of. You understand? But you don't talk to grown men. I don't care what kind of YouTube show you got. I don't care what kind of, you want to go viral, you want to do this and you want to do that. You conduct yourself as a gentleman. You want to call yourself a reporter. You don't see all the reporters who went to school. You don't see all the reporters who got their degrees, who got, you know, who worked up the ladder to become who they are, yelling and screaming and cursing and saying all kind of crazy shit to people. You don't see that. But if that's what you choose to do, you choose to do that, bro.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former bodyguard, just confirmed that Diddy straight up told his security team to get rid of Gene Deal. According to Roger, Diddy's been sending men after Gene since 2008, because apparently Diddy's the type to hold a grudge like it's a Grammy. But Gene was never just a bodyguard. He was a front row witness to everything. He saw the parties, the abuse, the manipulation. Basically, he was living in a 24/7 TMZ episode. Gene was speaking out way before the FBI ever started sniffing around. He's watched Diddy mistreat women, bully artists, and flex his power behind closed doors like he was some kind of hip-hop Bond villain. Honestly, Gene has enough stories to fill a Netflix docuseries called Surviving Diddy, The Director's Cut.
Sam, but he was like, yo, if y'all see Gene, I'm telling y'all, man, somebody better punch him in the face. Somebody better do something to him, man. He out here doing this, that, and we'd be like, all right.
Okay, so when was this? Because was Gene doing interviews at this point?
Yeah, we talking like 2008, 2009. Gene was spreading the word. You know, Gene was always bad-mouthing Gene.
Wait, hold on. Vlad TV started in 2008, 2009. YouTube was really early.
No, he wasn't doing YouTube and stuff. He was going around talking a lot of shit. And we all from Harlem. So he was just talking a lot of shit. And it's a small, Harlem is small.
So what was Gene Deal saying during that time? What did you hear?
He basically was talking about Puff and woman. That was going on with him and Kim. Puff being gay, you know, with him and Usher, shit like that. He was talking the same shit that he's talking now on a major scale, but he was spreading it around Harlem. Okay. So it was basically a thing where, yo, if y'all see that, man, I'm telling y'all better hear, he got hands put on him, this, that, and the other, but we seen him.
Diddy loves working from the shadows, like the world's most dramatic Scooby-Doo villain. And even now, while he's allegedly sending men after Gene, he's out here trying to convince the judge that he's a changed man. According to reports, Diddy's planning to check into rehab and start therapy for his mental health issues, claiming that's why he was such a disgusting person all these years. Yeah, sure, bro. Next thing you know, he'll blame Mercury being in retrograde for all the shady stuff he's done. Let's be real. This isn't a redemption arc. It's PR 101. Diddy in rehab is like Voldemort going to Hogwarts counseling. We all know it's not gonna fix the problem.
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform, man. October 3rd, man, we're gonna find out if Diddy do time or not. But I do wanna ask you, how you feel about this program that he enrolled into?
Well, the programs that they put him in is because of he's getting close to release or he may be released. So the Bureau of Prisons for the federal government has to give him a program based on his crime that he committed. You know what I'm saying? He did commit a crime. He is going to jail for committing a crime, but the time is going to be based on his pre-sentence report. So now, in the pre-sentence report that the probation officer, the federal probation officer do, they go by the history. If he had any criminal history, they go by the criminal history. They go by the history, the crime. They go by what the victim statements and all that, and they do this report that they submit to the judge. And submitting that report to the judge is gonna have what they believe based on the guidelines of the prison system, the guidelines of the correctional sets up based on what the time he'll do based on the crime. Now, the crime, and let's get this straight, the crime that he committed is based on the Mann Act. And that ranged anywhere from probably 22 to 54 months. Probably 22 to 54 months.
This whole rehab move, yeah, total sham. Diddy just wants the judge to think he's a brand new man. Every criminal pulls this card before sentencing. It's like the get out of jail free card from Monopoly, except with a yoga mat and fake tears. Allegedly, Diddy's hoping the judge will buy it and go, wow, he's really changed. But let's be real. Bad mental health doesn't turn you into a full-blown supervillain who ruins lives for decades. That's not depression, that's straight-up Bond villain energy. Diddy's just desperate to get out, and at this point, he'll tell any lie he can. Next thing you know, he'll be saying he's a vegan monk who rescues puppies on the weekends.
I don't give a flying F about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a facade. It's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? He had enough money way before he got to jail. If he wanted to do something to get himself right, to get off drugs, he could have got the best doctors. You understand? He could have gotten the best treatment facility. If he wanted to stop beating women, he could have got some psychological help. He could have bought the best that money could buy. So all this shit is just to get his sorry ass out to jail. And 9 times out of 10, it usually helps.
Gene isn't afraid of Diddy. Why would he be? He used to be Diddy's bodyguard. Back in the day, Diddy needed Gene's protection, not the other way around. If anything, Gene was the only reason Diddy could walk through a club without hiding behind a potted plant. Even before the trial, Diddy was already trying to buy Gene's silence. Gene would get calls from people close to Diddy while Diddy was locked up, basically offering him a hush money package like it was a Black Friday deal. Name your price, Gene, just stop talking. And when that didn't work, they started hinting that he'd be silenced one way or another. Gene spent over a decade with Diddy and saw firsthand the kind of monster he was. He knows exactly what Diddy is capable of, and he still chose to speak out. That's not bravery. That's I dare you energy. Gene's basically walking around like the one guy in a horror movie who refuses to run from the killer.
I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. And God knows I could bodyguard myself with his blessings. I could bodyguard myself with his blessings, bro. I'm not worried about that. Nothing beats an ambush, and I know that. But I'm not worried about his shit. People just need to talk about something. They want to have something to say, man. Oh, Gene gotta be worried, so like that. So, shouldn't I have been worried when he was out here on the street? When he was out here on the street, I should have been worried. Yo, bro, August the 14th, 1999, high-speed chase in Harlem. You understand? How I didn't know that he didn't send nobody after me then. Cause niggas do that shit. They'll send somebody at you. I've seen dudes that do shit and they have niggas right there in the same clique and they didn't even know he did it. So how I know those 4 guys, 5 guns to my head wasn't sitting by him. When Roger Bonds come and say later that Diddy wanted something done to Gene Deal. How I know?
Diddy might scare everyone else with his money, muscle, and mafia cosplay. But Gene? Nah. Gene spent over a decade protecting Diddy. He knows exactly who he is. A coward who can't even fight his own battles without sending a small army of backup dancers turned goons. And Gene isn't afraid of someone like that. He's not running, not hiding, not even checking over his shoulder. He's basically standing in the middle of the street like, go ahead, make a move. I'll wait. Gene's got the kind of energy where you just know he'd finish his sandwich and then deal with the drama.
Diddy tried to silence you or tried to get you to stop talking about him.
This is relayed to me by Kirk Burrows. This guy is like this with Diddy. You seen him on Drink Champs with him. You see him walking the streets in Miami with him, the whole 9 yards. So I'm saying to him, what does he want to talk to me for? He ain't got nothing to say to me. He said, yo, Gene, he said enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough to what? And I told Kirk Burrows, I said, yo, if he wanted, I said, he don't want to talk to me for himself. He wants to talk to me for Diddy. And I ain't got nothing to say to him. He ain't said enough is enough to Wolf's mother when he cursed out and told her all kinds of. Did he say enough to Big's mother? What do you mean enough is enough? And that's how that conversation went.
How did you feel about it after you were done?
I felt that, like, because they must have got at Kirk Burrows, because Kirk called me with the bullshit. Yo, you gotta fix that. You know this, man, God, excuse me. Listen here, bro. I don't care nothing about none of these industry cats and what they do and how they do it. That's their business. You understand? I don't tell a man how to screw his wife and how to spend his money. You don't tell me what I gotta do with my time. Point blank.
Do you feel like at some point Diddy could try to come after you or do something, being that he's went after a lot of people, he's did a lot of stuff, as you know about.
Cam, let me tell you something, man. If I worried about what somebody would do for me, I wouldn't be the man that I am. I keep my head on the swivel. I do what I have to do to protect myself and my family. All I know is that I know one thing for certain, two things for sure. I got people out here that love me. You understand?
Gene Deal is risking everything to pull the curtain back on the darkness behind Diddy's shiny bad boy image. And Suge Knight is co-signing from behind bars like the world's scariest hype man. Sure, Diddy's got the money, the power, and what looks like the cheat code level protection of the system. But one thing he doesn't have anymore? Control of the narrative. Now it's Gene's mic, and Diddy's sweating harder than he did dancing in that shiny suit. So, what do you think Diddy's really hiding? And more importantly, will Gene Deal survive long enough to spill it all? Drop your theories in the comments because at this point, this story has more plot twists than a Netflix true crime series.